Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got Jonathan Latona with me. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, sir. How you doing, Jeff?
Good. Should I call you Johnny Boy? No. So anyway.
You could. I mean, a lot of people have. You could. You definitely could. That's
I don't know.
That's my Marty. That's my Marty.
That's your Marty?
I'm very proud of it.
It's funny because I've always called you Jonathan just because that's like how I was
Formal.
introduced to you. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's how you credit yourself in your films.
It's true. True.
Ooh, what a smart segue. Accidental. I'm going to name all your films and then the podcast you were on before. So, I met you in 2018, Sherman Oaks Film Festival 2018. That would have been November of 2018. You had a short film, Circles, played there. It was great. We met. I was like, what a smart young man. So anyway.
Oh, thanks, man.
And then 2 years after that, your film Doug, feature film, showed at Film Invasion Los Angeles. And then 4 years after that, Destination Hollywood played Sherman Oaks Film Festival. So films in 18, 20, and 24.
Wow.
And in between Doug and Destination Hollywood, you did come by and do this podcast in September of 2021. And people should listen to the podcast before this one.
Yeah, please.
One might say we lacked focus, but what we really did was a stream of consciousness conversation. So it's nearly 2 hours of us shooting the shit, but talking about film, talking about the world, talking about the world of film.
Yes.
So I am not ashamed of it all.
Neither
Listen
am I.
All 2 hours, motherfuckers.
Please, yes.
And in the
that would make me very
meantime-
happy.
But if you listen to this podcast, you might know that everyone who comes on does the 4 questions, which is name 3 films you love, name an underrated, an overrated, and a lesser-known film people should seek out. And the cool thing is, Jonathan answered those 4 questions in September of 2021. So now here we are, April 2025. That's pretty much 3.5 years later.
I'm curious if my list
think.
changed at all. You know,
We will find out.
Probably has a little bit. Yeah.
Probably. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to just jump in and start
Yeah,
saying,
absolutely.
And notice I said 3 films. It's funny because I don't never want people to be like, I have to name the 3 best films of all time. Like it's 3 films that you just think are great.
Yeah. Like right now, like you want to, like what are my 3 movies right now off the top of my head?
Or your 3 favorites. Just three films.
3 films,
faves.
man. All right. Well, I'm not trying to, I'm curious to know if it's changed a little bit, but the 3 movies that I see myself gravitating towards at this phase in my life, I'm still gonna say There Will Be Blood is probably around my top. Yeah, it's still there.
As well, it should be.
There,
it's
right?
one of the greatest films ever made.
But you know what though? It's I've seen a lot more modern movies lately, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to. So, oh God, geez, this is really, you're killing me with this because like I'm giving myself grief. I'm thinking, oh boy. So, but I always go to like There Will Be Blood, Taxi Driver, and Mulholland Drive. I think were the 3 that I named last time. So I'm going to do something different. Midnight Cowboy, Wild at Heart, and E.T.
Well, first of all,
I know there's just 6.
You named your first 3 perfectly.
Those are the first 3 from 20.
Those were the first 3.
No.
You did Taxi Driver, There Will Be Blood, and Mulholland Drive.
Okay.
You nailed it.
That sounds about right. That sounds like what I would do.
And then you showed up, and actually I didn't quite type.
No, you're good. The 3 different ones. Yeah. Wild at Heart.
That's right.
E.T.
So another Lynch.
Yeah. E.T. Which, I've been thinking about E.T. a lot recently. It's a very underrated movie, I think, very little dialogue, and you still get the whole sense of everything. And, and it was shot in the San Fernando Valley. And, it's got that cast. That mom is a literal direct ripoff of my mom, so it works. It's just like, it's such a, for Spielberg, I don't really love a lot of his work, but I love that movie. So,
and there was a 3rd you named.
Yeah, there was a 3rd. Jesus Christ, it's slipping from me now. What? We could roll it back the tape, right?
Roll it back.
But no, we're not going to do that.
I nearly typed it as you said it.
I need to cringe a little bit,
All right,
Wild at Heart, E.T. God, what was the 3rd one? I don't want to say I said Midnight Cowboy. I probably did.
You did.
You did?
It was
Okay.
Midnight Cowboy.
It probably
What's wrong
was.
with Midnight Cowboy?
I love Midnight Cowboy. No, it's great.
Midnight Cowboy is so... And talk about edgy and
Yeah.
ahead of its time.
Well, because I couldn't tell if I said Midnight Cowboy for the first three, but I know that I still, it always has a soft spot in my heart, despite like how it's aged over the years. It's still a very, like near perfect movie. I
mean, I think I was still in high school when I saw it on VHS, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And
that must be an experience.
I will forever remember the Buck Henry scene.
Oh God, it's so great.
That scene just
it's so fantastic.
And it's obviously it's really true. It's so authentic to life.
Well, there's a lot.
And as a kid, I'd never seen anything like that in my life.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of scenes in that movie that are very traumatizing when you first watch them, and you don't know why, But like that whole scene where he like goes into that dude's house, you know what I mean? And he gets like, and he's like, very much lied to by Ratso to go into this fucking house, and the guy is like saying, "And you're gonna find Christ, and you're gonna get the body flowing through," you know what I mean? All that shit. It's very much like how I felt when I first moved to LA. Nothing but possibilities, but the possibilities can be very grim if you're not careful. You know what I mean? But also, too, if you do a movie like that simple nowadays, they're going to think, okay, well, where's the added bonus? Like, what are we getting ourselves into? And I'm like, it's an experience, Like, that's a movie that if it's ever playing at New Beverly, I have to go and find it. I have to go and see it. Because, like, I've seen it so many times on DVD and Blu-ray. And I really do have a soft spot for that movie, for sure.
Absolutely. Excellent. All right, well, question 2 is a film you consider underrated.
Underrated? Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Dude. 1,000,000,000%.
Right?
1,000,000,000.
Right?
No, that film should be in film studies classes.
Oh, absolutely.
That is one of the best scripts. Mm-hmm. It's one of the best directing jobs. It's the best act. That Pee-wee's Big Adventure is cinema history. It deserves to be on a pedestal.
I agree 100%. It's literally, because
and it holds up. By the way, we showed it to the kid when she was
older.
Really? It holds up.
That's so fantastic.
It's still perfect.
It's so fucking funny. Like so many parts of that movie are funny, but like also too, it's
a real quest. It's a quest.
It really is, yeah. And the thing about it is like everybody believes in those characters. Like they did their job. Like they just played it so perfectly. Where it's just like I know I'm watching an older guy play a kid, but like at the same time though, you fall into this like you get hypnotized by all of that, But what I love is the use of music. It just makes you feel like makes you feel like you're a marionette puppet, And it's just like it's.
I know the score is kind of manic,
and it shouldn't exist. But the fact that it's so zany, it's like the first time you're ever given a glimpse of like you're taking the best parts of Oingo Boingo, and you're taking the best parts of Tim Burton. And you're mixing it up into this gothic pleasure chest that is just like, oh, thank God. It's so perfect,
All right, so Danny Elfman's older brother, who started the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, that was their original name.
Interesting.
Directed a film called The Forbidden Zone. And if you get the soundtrack to Forbidden Zone, which was actually by the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo.
Right.
It is the most pure Danny Elfman score I've ever heard. It's
that
just so amazing.
Funny.
You got it. I hope it's on. I'm sure it's on the services, the streamers.
YouTube definitely has it.
Use your Spotify. Oh yeah, of course.
YouTube definitely has it.
But like you gotta, if you love the Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
yeah, I do.
Basically, I'm 99% sure that Tim Burton loved Forbidden Zone and just said, get that Oingo Boingo guy.
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
It's perfect. It's
perfect. No, I like that's. And
by the way, 4 years ago, you named The Limey, which is a great underrated.
The Limey is still there for me too. I still watch scenes from it, going, man. I'm like, and well, you probably haven't seen it yet, but Black Bag, it's the same kind of concept of just a simple, straight through movie that is just like it plays its punches really, really well. But like Soderbergh, man, he just gets these very raw, these visceral things out of people, and and it's just like, man, like first take wonders are like, you can learn a lot from that guy, and
he's one of my favorites.
He really is
always
too.
Be one of my favorites.
But that's so funny, man.
In fact, I keep naming a film he did that came out during COVID, only on, I forget which streamer it's on. It might actually be on Netflix, and it was Meryl Streep, Candice Bergen, and Diane Wiest as three best friends.
That is an insane fucking cast.
And it is brilliant.
Wow.
It's brilliant. It's one of those, it's an insanely, it's a perfect film. And I'm like, why did no one see this? And then you look it up.
He's my idol.
It came out when everyone was watching Tiger King.
He's my idol for that reason, though, because he just puts things out, and if there's anything you could be proud of, it's like little things like that, right? Where it's just like, well, we're making our movies, fuck it,
Yeah.
like.
I heard him say how if I had more of a signature, I'd probably be more successful. Like, because when you see, because I'm like, I disagree with him, because like when I'm watching one of his films, I'm like, I know I'm watching one of his films.
The baseline.
But I think what he means is like, he doesn't make a mob film every time like Scorsese, so he's like, you know what I mean? Like the studios are probably not willing to pay him as much.
No, but when I was watching Black Bag, it was sophisticated cool.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's what he does so well. You know what I mean? It's that baseline. It's the fact that, and what I love too, and the funniest thing
he can
was,
do it limey. Counts as sophisticated.
1,000%.
And so does all the Ocean's films. And actually, honestly,
1,000%.
the Ocean's films are all great.
Oh yeah, they are. They really stand up too. Ocean's 12 is my favorite out of the whole group. Just because they take big swings.
We even loved Ocean's 8. Was Ocean's 8 the Sandra Bullock one?
Yeah, but that wasn't him though. He just like produced.
He handed it off.
Yeah, Feige did.
It was still damn good.
It was all right. Yeah, it has
we
its
liked
moments. But no. But like the thing is though, is that like with him, it's like he takes these really just minimalist things and makes it, he makes walking look so fucking cool. You know what I mean? I want to know how you do that and not lose your mind. You know what I mean? It's like all the walking shots, if you notice how easy they are, but how cool people look. And when you put it behind a cool ass bass, you know what I mean? It's like the thing that I wonder about is when he decides to make the cuts, like when you're watching like Cate Blanchett walk down the street and everything in Black Bag, and then all of a sudden it just finds its way, and then it cuts, and then she ends up home, and I'm just like, that is fucking like how did you decide to do that? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so easy.
You'll be able to tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think this was in the Limey, and it blew my mind to the point that I remember it to this day. And the Limey came out a long time ago, right? Like 20 something years. Mm-hmm. Is the Limey the one where we've seen a million airplanes taking off, right? In cinema, and it's always. Was it the Limey where he put the camera and the plane came towards you, and then you followed it like this, like you, and it turned up, and the image turned upside down, and then saw it going the like.
Kind of, yeah.
He did an amazing airplane taking off
shot,
and I was
much.
I remember watching it in the theater, and I'm pretty sure it was the Limey, and I was like, oh my God, Soderbergh just made a plane taking off. He shot a plane taking off in a way I've never seen before.
Well, we were always told, like in film school, we saw that, and I was told, my professor said, hey, pay attention to where you think he is in the plane. Is he at the destination or is he heading to the destination? Because that's one of those questions where it's like it fucks with you. Because if you watch the movie with the intent that he's arriving to Los Angeles as opposed to leaving Los Angeles, it has a totally different feel. You know what I mean? If you think of it as like he's arriving or he's leaving Los Angeles, that means that all the events have happened and he's just thinking about it and he's downloading it up his brain, and then the lady talks to him, right? But if he's arriving and none of that happened, he's a fucking sociopath, right? Like, there's so many ways to look at it, and I really think that like the art of that movie is within the edit and within the cuts that you just don't get in any other movie. You know what I mean? But the question is that by design, or is that something they stumbled upon? Like, did you make a very boring movie and made it cool with the edit, or is it better because it's edited that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's something that I'm always asking. But he's out there, man.
He's brilliant. Brilliant artist.
For real.
All right. So the next question is a film that you consider overrated. And I do know what you said 4 years ago.
I said Marvel movies, right?
Yes, you did.
I did, yeah.
Wait, is your memory that good? Or
No,
you just think you would say...
I know that I would say...
literally it says right here, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Because it's so spot on what I would say. Of course I would say that. Overrated.
And by the way, I mean...
Okay, no.
Every time I drive away from my home, I pass a billboard next to the 405 freeway.
Of course.
That's always got the most recent Disney film. And right now it's the next Marvel movie that's coming out with a bunch of characters I don't care about.
Naturally.
And every time I look up at that, I say to my wife, I'm like, who the fuck needs another superhero movie?
It's so true. It's so true.
Like they're so going to lose on this one.
It's so
they're
true.
They're going to lose.
Well, I'm going to be very topical with this one. A movie that was overrated that I did not like from last year, Anora. And I'll tell you why. I really went in. I really wanted to like that fucking movie. I really wanted to. It reminded me of all of the things that I didn't like about, because Sean Baker, he's one of us. He's an independent filmmaker, but at this point in the road, he's given millions and millions of dollars to do these movies, right? And I understand that he wants to glorify sex workers and everything like that too, but it's not trying to be polarizing or anything like that. I just didn't like the movie. I felt that if you have a movie with two young idiots whose frontal lobe cortex is not fully developed yet, why the fuck are we watching this thing? Like, in the movie, she's 23 and she falls in love with a 23-year-old whose daddy's a fucking gun salesman for like bad dudes, right? But like, it's the idea that, there's this whole disconnect within what they're doing, because it's like, okay, cool. But, your dad is part of an oligarch fucking, whole thing. And also like, I just don't care. I also don't buy the fact that, this girl fell into this whole thing because she happened to speak a little bit of Russian. Like, and I understand the whole suspension of disbelief thing. It just wasn't for me. There were good moments that I liked out of it, sure. But like the movie itself kind of just, I don't know. I was watching it and I just didn't like any of the characters. I felt it was a little lazy, and I was like, this guy's got millions of dollars to do this shit, and he doesn't even hire a fucking, what do you call it? The intimacy coordinator officer. Like, they didn't even do that. They literally, like there's a fuck ton of sex scenes, and so his wife is a fucking producer on this movie, and they enacted some of those scenes out in front of her. That was their intimacy coordination. Any other production or any other project would have been shut the fuck down, scrutinized. They would have called him a pervert. They would have Me Too'd him. And I swear to God, I distinctly remember a time where people lost their careers over being Me Too'd. And yet, this guy's like, yeah, we had the money to hire an intimacy coordinator. We didn't. Oh, and Neon paid $18 million for our Oscars because, hey, why not? That's 3 times the fucking budget of the movie. Like, none of this really makes any sense, and he's being touted as a guerrilla filmmaker or an independent filmmaker first, and I get that, but at this point, he is so far beyond that, and it's so sad because it was for a movie that I know that he's more than capable of doing a better story, and yet decided to go with, no, I'm going to tell a Pretty Woman-esque story anyway, and there was nothing Pretty Woman about it. There was nothing, like, it was just... a trash person calling other trash people trash, And she wasn't really a trash person.
This critique makes me even more curious to see. You know what I mean? Because like, I get your critique and I'm like, because as I told you, I didn't see anything that was nominated last year. I'm
an angry guy yelling at a cloud compared to what people thought of this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people loved the movie. I just didn't find it appealing. I'm in the minority here because I only know a fraction of other people who enjoyed it for different reasons, give or take. But like, I was just like not really into it as much as they were into it,
Yeah. Well, but guess what? I'm not going to watch it. I don't think I'm going to watch it.
No, I think you should.
Well, yeah. I think but when I'm not watching festival submissions,
of course, yes.
My wife and I are actually catching up with all the motherfucking TV series that everyone tells us we have to be watching.
It's so much. I know.
You know what I mean? Like
there's so much.
We got to watch
so
Severance. We got to watch this. We got to stay current with so we can discuss things with our friends at some point. But
I mean, yeah, I've never watched a frame of Severance. I feel pretty good about my life.
Yeah, I actually am hesitant to revisit it.
I don't know, but like, then I got to watch The Studio. You know what I mean? There's just like a whole laundry list of things.
Laundry list.
People
There's
don't have that much time, and I feel bad because it's just like, this is the market that we're in, right? I hate talking shit about movies, especially when like people who started out on the very bottom ended up making them pretty good. But like, it's just like, it's like a little taut. You know what I mean? I'm just like over some of this shit by now. But hey, man, there's an audience. I'm glad he got 4 Oscars for it. Spoiler alert, he got 4 Oscars for it. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't think it was that good of a movie. But, the Academy members are old, horny white dudes, so I guess it works, right? There was another thing I thought where, like, the people liking it, I don't think that they actually know what sex is. I think they have an idea of sex based on what Pornhub is, but I don't know if they really know what the intimate value of being with another person like that truly is.
Look, the world is due for a film that really dives into human sexuality. Because I one thing that annoys me as a festival programmer these days is that people really avoid sex now.
No, they do.
Ever since, and what they don't understand is that Me Too wasn't about that. It was like you're saying, if there's an intimacy coordinator there. So every once in a while we get actually
in the weeds
Film Invasion in 2023, I think. Oh, there was this amazing film with tons of sex in it.
Oh, wow.
And it was so well done. And I think it was called Little Deaths. But
I wasn't a jury member back then.
Great. I guess not.
I wasn't on that list. No.
You weren't not that. You were busy that time.
No, it's all good.
It was maybe I can get. I think it's out now, so it's a feature. I'll get you a link.
It's on the thing. Yeah, it's on your the Amazon podcast.
Hopefully, yeah.
Thing,
right? Yeah. They do.
It's on Amazon, right? Yeah, I'll check it out. But no, yeah. I wanted to like Nora, but man.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last question is a lesser known film that people should seek out, and I suppose last time you named 2.
Well, oh God, what were they? I don't remember.
Well, no. Give me an answer. Lesser known film that people should seek out. One of them is a film that's very, very important in my life that you named last time.
Okay. Less important movie. Oh, geez.
Or lesser known that people should seek out.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. Well, there's a couple that popped in my head just now too, and I'm sorry because I didn't really think about this one. I actually totally forgot about this question because like the last time I had like I feel like I had a whole like laundry list of things, but I think that Plan 9 from Outer Space is really kind of one of those movies that kind of just sticks in my head, and I'm a huge Ed Wood fan. And I think that like now it should be more in vogue, especially because, it's really like his like, pro environment movie, like the aliens need to kill the humans because the humans are ruining the planet. I think that's really amazing for 1954. It's just like, he was drinking too much.
That's what Thanos wanted.
Yeah. No, I know, right? That's kind of, they're not wrong. I mean, yeah, it's just like, that's literally the whole thing. But like when you watch the movie, it's really bad. I mean, it's just
I know.
The
and
dialogue
like the alien is like a gorilla suit with an astronaut helmet.
For the most part,
the right one?
They're all just dudes. Like they're all just wearing dudes. regular costumes. They're all just people. But it was how he made it. I mean, it wasn't really because it was made. So there's this. I think a bar. I don't really know, but it's by the 101 off of Santa Monica, right? It's called Gold Diggers. That used to be a soundstage where Ed Wood shot Plan 9. And so for me, it's always like a very kinship with, like independent movies and guerrilla movies and things on low budgets to where it's like they tried, man. But the fact that there's still a fan base for it, it's super culty. I think the majority of people know that movie and I hope that they do because it's not really like anything new. It's been out for quite a while. So yeah, Plan 9 is one of those, and then my follow-up to that would probably be Lords of Salem. But that's not really, you asked for one, not two, so... But I will just keep on that trend of being like a little bit, yeah, so...
Well, so the funny story is that when I was a junior in college in 1989, I went to see a movie on, there was a local theater, Tuesday nights were $2. So I went to see this movie for $2, and and they were first release. So it blew me away how great this movie was. So the next night I actually went on a date the first time. And so then the next night, so I saw that on a Tuesday night. Wednesday night, I went with all my roommates to watch it again the very next night. It was called They Live.
Oh my God, yes.
And They Live was your lesser known to seek out. And They Live is the only
that was from last time.
To the end of my days, that will always be the only film I've ever seen in a movie theater.
So good.
Same movie theater 2 nights in a row.
Oh yeah.
And then when it came out on VHS, I'm sure we brought it home from. We didn't go to Blockbuster. We went to Captain Video in Santa Barbara. So Captain Video, but I would never pretend. I actually never had a Blockbuster card. I was always
really
at Indie.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because actually in the LA area, well, they eventually did dominate, but for where I lived, they were never like.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I never had a block. But They Live lives in my heart.
So great. I love
John
that
Carpenter's. Movie. Brilliant expose of the Reagan Revolution, really.
Mm-hmm. And it's super relevant, more relevant now, I think, than back then, too, because we're all exposed to this shit, It's
such a great movie.
Yeah, no, I love that movie, too. I'm so glad I didn't mention the same one twice. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. and we'll get out of here, but you also, you threw in, because you also threw in Killing of a Chinese Bookie.
Oh, man. See, that's me.
And you also threw in.
That's me being optimistic.
Somehow you threw in extra. I don't know if I asked you this question based on They Live or what, but a crazy fun '80s movie worth a look.
What did I say back then?
Hamburger the movie.
Hamburger.
Which all I remember, I think I remember that film. Is that the film with the really with a scene where a guy gets under the table and goes down on a woman?
Probably
sitting at a dining.
Well, so
the woman who's like husband owned the restaurant.
If you have to ask a question like that, chances are it is.
Okay, yeah.
No, that movie is so fucking insane. But how I came across that movie was actually because Eli Roth was on a podcast and said that that back in the day, he would record these movies on tape. Like he would actually record it on a cassette tape and then play it back in his car because he had a cassette car tape. And so he knew the lines, and then him and his friends or whoever just loved how fucking awful that movie was. They stayed up till like 1 a.m. They would record it and they'd play it back in their car. And they always thought that was the coolest thing, that they knew lines that no one else knew from a fucking obscure movie. But that movie is bonkers. There's, oh my God, I totally forgot about it until you mentioned it. I was like, oh my God. Cause Hamburger, I think was, it was different, but it was around that time when they were trying to sell McDonald's and everything like that. So Mac and Me, Mac and Me? You ever hear about that?
Yeah.
Mac and Me is like the ripoff of E.T.
Yeah.
The E.T. ripoff.
The alien that likes McNuggets.
Because that's all they fucking feed him. And yeah, it is that movie is, Hamburger is way better than Mac and Me, but both of those are preposterous. And they were just trying to sell fast food to people. You know what I mean? So yeah, it is.
I am now 99% sure that, the scene I'm talking about
it's
was
gotta
in Hamburger.
Be, right? It's gotta be.
Because that movie was nuts, and it was...
God, I love it, man. Don't you just love how movies bring you down these weird rabbit holes?
That's why I always say,
that's why
they are our campfire. They are what we...
Seriously.
Yeah.
Good times.
They connect us.
Great fucking time, man. Well, hey, thank you, Jeff, for everything you do, man. It's just, it's a gift. So thanks, man.
Thank you. All right, let's get out of here.
Yes.
All your shit will be clickable links in the show notes.
Please.
My shit will be clickable links in the show notes. Maybe I'll just mention... like and subscribe to the podcast. DiscoverIndieFilm.com is the website. The nonprofit that runs a couple of fairly good festivals is DiscoverIndieFilm.org. Check that out. And whatever. I'm good.
Sweet.
I don't have to like mention all the other Because if you go to discovernewfilm.org, it shows Filmvasion LA, it shows
all
Film
these projects
Festival.
are incredible. So yeah, I
We're
do get a
doing
kick
our
out of
best,
it.
and we're all good.
Yeah,
all right,
solid.
sir.
Thank you so
Heck,
much.
I talked for another hour, but I
can do this all day. No, let's get the hell out of here.
And thank you, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much, man.